Hello everyone, this is my reaction to last week's Star Citizen Live Q&A Ship Showdown. Again, this is not a summary, I only talk about things I find important. I want to say this now, so I don't have to repeat it again and again in my comments. Whenever I see a Star Citizen Live, I never get the impression this is a well-oiled machine in year 13. Instead, I get the impression here we have 2 to 4 people, they want to make a space game, they are just starting brainstorming. We want to, we are planning to, yeah.
600i rework when?
No production work is currently happening on it, and it's not on our sort of like rolling 12 to 18 month schedule at the moment. I think everything we showed in the concept is still valid. I think exterior wise, pretty happy with where the ship is. It's mainly down to interior layout changes and making a better use of the space that it's got. It's got quite a lot of space, and it's got a fair amount of wasted space. And then also the kind of like the changes we want to do to make sure it's works much better with the kind of the different modules and the different layouts that we need.
Why it never seems to happen is that really 600i owners have a functional ship. So when it comes to prioritizing what do we want to work on next, redoing the 600i takes the place of something else that doesn't exist yet.
Both gave a long answer and they still didn't say anything. The question was when. 5 years ago, CRG showed a fancy video of a 600i rework. They even showed a Nova tank on the main elevator of 600i, and all of this vanished into the void. CRG rather spends their time on new fancy OP ships because they still need a lot of money. Who cares about old ships people already bought?
How many existing ships need upgrade/polish before engineering can be released? Now, this is a backdoor question trying to glean some insight into engineering, but I'll let John and Ben answer about the ship part of that, since engineering is not technically a ship feature.
The full featured running around your ship, changing fuses, messing with relays, engineering screens, completely accessible components. We are pretty well through the list. I had a big chart that I was looking at the other day of where we are with it, and it's well over half the ships have that level of everything being physicalized. And the majority of the ones that don't so far are those single-seater ships that gameplay is of a lesser importance.
This is John Crew, this is not an intern, and he doesn't even know, or he makes it look like, yeah, it's not a problem that even many of the bigger ships still don't have their physicalized components, for example Andromeda and Carrick.
So it's more about bringing the ships up to, you know,
current,
current standard or 1.0 standard, or whatever, however you want to kind of like stage it. It's you know, it's bringing the ships up to the standard where they support all the current kind of gameplay and features that we know about kind of now.
This question was about how about bringing the starter ships to the current standard, but the main issue is CRG in year 13 still doesn't have a gold standard yet. The goalpost is still moving.
Many of you will not live to see the release of the game. The game is now feature complete, but it's only feature complete until I decide to add more features.
How is ship modularity coming along?
It's out there with the Retaliator now. So really the only thing that stops it spreading further onto other ships that we promised it with is just simply time and resources to go through those other ships and do it.
This was a really lame answer, John. What about modularity? Yeah, we have it now with the Retaliator, but we need more time to give it to other ships. Almost 10 years ago, CRG showed a video about modularity of the Caterpillar with lots of modules, and this is still not in the game. What about Warden modularity? What about Avenger modularity? CRG went totally away from modularity, instead they are selling us variants. See for example Ares, it would be trivial to have modules for the different guns, or just swap the guns, but no, we have to buy either Ares Iron or Ares Inferno, or both. Or Talon and Talon Shrike. It would be trivial to have modules for this, but no, you have to buy both ships.
What brought on this recent design trend of emphasizing bespoke weaponry on your newest ships?
It's an unfortunate trend based on just the last 2 ships. The only other bespoke weapon that is on any ship for the rest of the year is the Perseus turret guns. Everything else uses generic ones.
No, there's a bespoke weapon on one of the October things. Because I continue.
So two more for the rest of the year, and those ships also have generic weapons. And it's a two-part answer. One, Ben could probably talk about from the visual side, but from the design side, it allows us to have essentially some level of control over the actual raw damage output of a ship.
I don't like bespoke weapons on ships, with a few exceptions. For example, Perseus, main guns, this is fine. Having bespoke weapons on smaller ships doesn't make any sense. Why can't we just change the guns to the guns we like? You're stuck with CRG's not always, to say it very mildly, not fantastic balanced decisions.
The ships with multiple S2 shields seem to have some power issues compared with ships with a single larger shield, as they consume much more power, but they perform much worse. In the past, you said that 6 times S2 of the Redeemer should provide an advantage in regeneration compared to a single S3, but currently they're not working this way, as the S2 shields have much worse shield regeneration. Whew. John.
That is very true. So we are in this sort of in-between stage of the current system and engineering.
I said at the beginning of this video I won't mention it again, but now I kind of feel like I have to. This is a $1 billion project in year 13, and CRG still doesn't have a plan, doesn't have a concept, doesn't think things through, does not think in advance. They are just throwing spaghetti at walls and check what sticks.
And I talked with Torsten yesterday to make sure I say the right thing here, so hopefully I don't misconstrue it. But with the engineering update, there's going to be quite a large change in how shields and other components function. And essentially, if you have a ship that has more than 2 shields, you will only ever have 2 available at a time active. So that means that if one of them goes down, your third one will come online to take its place. If that one goes down, the fourth one comes online, 5th, 6th, whatever. So in terms of power consumption, obviously that changes things drastically because you're only having to power 2, but you have this sort of larger backup pool of shield generators.
I told you, engineering update will be a total nightmare. We are in year 13 and now CRG will change how shields work. Are you for real?
Backlog ships plan?
The company and the project is funded in a particular manner, and traditionally new ships sell well. But that doesn't mean we can't not do the old ones. We have to do that. But it's always a balancing act between fresh new content, updating the existing content so it suits the game as it is today. Like I said, we talked about with the Aurora, that isn't really suitable for the game today. So we need to fix things like that. And then we also need to finish and deliver on the backlog ships.
This was a very honest answer, John. Of course, CRG needs to sell new ships because they still need a lot of money. We are in year 13, CRG has $1 billion in funding so far, but the game is not even 10% done. Because of Chris, his wrong priorities, and never having any plan. Reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks, of course, costs a lot of money and time. However, just the backlog of old ships is at least 10 years long by now, and CRG cannot just hire new people because this costs a lot of money. Not much of the 1 billion is left.
Pretty reasonable and stuff. Even the Manual Merchantman requires NPCs and being able to set up your own shops with NPCs and stuff, and that's feature work and stuff.
Oh, why was being a merchantman then on a roadmap for 3.3 autumn 2017, according to Chris, 2016 SystemCon talk, and Chris called it a roadmap? You can release BMM just for the cargo hauling. This would be fine for now.
3.3. Here's the one. Who knew farming was so popular? So what we're going to aim for 3.3 is farming, sort of the rescue side. Yeah. And then you can hit Tony up about all this here because yet more fleshing out while we're doing the Stanton, and the Anvil Carrick, which I think that's the 890 jump, right? And the Merchantman. So there you go.
Raylan cargo pod system, valid or needs rethinking?
They are going to use the existing SCU cargo system that we have in the game, so they're not going to have some
That was the
weird
important bit,
bespoke
wasn't it, that I should have said.
Xi'an cargo shape cargo. It's going to use the same SCU ones. It's going to take 32 SCU containers.
Anything about the Carrick cargo pods?
So there's a lot of talk about the Carrick ones. They were never designed to be fully openable whilst they're within the ship. If you look at the ship, like the belly of the ship comes down halfway down the pods. We did some work early this year, to improve the opening, but they're never supposed to fully open whilst in the ship. You're supposed to drop the whole pods out, and then they open. If you look at the very original concept art, you'll see them like dropped on the planet side. That's where that ship's modularity comes from. And to do that requires quite an extensive rework of that belly area. So we're going to save that for when we have time to spread or time to spend more.
I have to ask, why did you change it so the cargo pods open to the side? Something that was never intended, something that doesn't really help much, loading, unloading, when you perfectly know those cargo pods are supposed to be detachable, something you will do later. Does Chris think reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks don't cost time and money?
It's not supposed to be like your mainline cargo ship. It's a explorer ship or expedition ship that can take cargo.
Yeah, but exploration is not in a game either, and it won't be in a game with 1.0 with just 5 star systems. I don't expect exploration gameplay in the next 5 to 8 years. Didn't you say you try not to release ships when they don't have their gameplay?
Will external doors be made stronger so you can't just open them by punching the door?
Technically, melee is doing physical damage, so over time it will do enough to open doors. Short, midterm, we're going to be bringing in, hopefully alongside engineering, like the concept of armor having minimum thresholds of damage, like damage numbers. So punching would just never exceed that threshold to allow you to open doors. Longer term, Maelstrom does this out the box.
I would like to point out it's not just melee, you can shoot open doors too, at least with ballistic small arms. And of course, the next carrot is already there, Maelstrom will fix everything.
Considering how many ships have been getting PDCs, including things like the 890 and the Reclaimer, will the Ironclad be getting some too? Very specific question.
Yeah. Sorry, Iron Chad owners, that you're not going to get them. They're really designed for military capital ships. I'm aware the 890 and the Reclaimer has got them. Those do not fit that bill, and the Constellation Phoenix. But that is because they were originally promised with them as part of their original design brief. So that's why they have them. But there's no plans to give them to the Ironclad.
So about getting in and out of ships and seats, which always locks the player into an, in my opinion, way too lengthy animation that we can neither cancel nor skip. Are there any plans for a refactor of this, like there are plans for ladders and vaulting, climbing, traversal?
Very good question. I don't know why there's no consistency. Some ships have a very quick enter-exit pilot seat animation, for example Caterpillar and Corsair. On some ships it takes forever to have control after we left the pilot seat, for example Hammerhead. Not to mention getting in and out of ships like Talon is really, really bad. And don't get me started about ETLS enter-exit animations. This is so terrible. It takes way too long. There's always the same animation. Get into ETLS, look to the left side, look to the right side. I actually look away from the screen when I'm doing this.
Yes, some of them are definitely too long. Calling out the Talon, especially. Being able to break out of them is something I've wanted for quite a while. It's just it's a priority thing, and it's on a team that is not under my influence to bias, sadly.
How hard is it to create paints for the currently available ships?
I wish it was just the easiest like color swatch pick go, but it's not.
He talked for almost 3 minutes telling us how complicated color swaps are. Chris, we want the hex codes you promised us. We are not talking about new skins, we are just talking about a very simple tool to change the 4 default colors to 4 new colors. This is easy, this is trivial, and you, CIG, knows this. And if it's so complicated, why did Nathan Dersley say something different 9 years ago? Because it's easy and trivial. We are not talking about skins, we are talking about color swaps.
So essentially the process kind of begins with we want to get these pre-configured schemes done. So you could, for example, go off and go, oh, you know what, I want a NASA themed kind of skin, or I want, a District 9 themed skin, or I want a pink Hello Kitty themed skin. And then essentially, we as artists create, well, basically they're material files. They're tiny in memory. They're so small that we can have hundreds of them if we want to. Further forward, we want these kind of paint configurations to become hex codes. So if you're in like a guild of 20 players, and the clan leader said, all right, this is our paint scheme, there's going to be no guessing work. You get the hex code, you put it in there, and it automatically will say, oh, you know what, we've got matte black against yellow against pink, something crazy, and every ship in your fleet, you can put that hex code on and it will automatically go into that color configuration. So there's a lot of kind of cool things, and as artists we do this stuff all day every day, and we were just like, why wouldn't we give the end user this functionality? So that's the overall plan. There is a lot of kind of very things you have to be careful with when you're authoring the shaders for this stuff, so it can accommodate these options, but we're on top of that, and that's kind of, yeah, it's good.
I'm talking about the original stretch goals. I think we're still on the hook for a battle cruiser at some point, which will undoubtedly be the biggest ship in the game. Are we still going to do that?
Yeah, it's looking really, really cool with the progress we've made on it so far. So I think the battle cruiser, on paper, it's a big old ship, and we are. I hope I'm allowed to say this. We're in very early stages of kind of our concept work on the battle cruiser at the moment. Too late, Jared. Sorry.
We're going for it now.
We have to do it. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. It's not coming this year. It's not coming anytime soon. Okay, so just don't want to get anybody's hopes up or anything.
It's one of it's a big ship. It needs a bunch of concept to get it right. Super happy with where it's going so far. I think it allows us to take a lot of the things that we've learned on our existing kind of ships and our larger ships and kind of wrap them into a big powerhouse and deliver something that we're kind of we're super excited about. Not just in terms of firepower, but what we can deliver from a ship this size with everything that we know now. So yeah,
it's unlike any of our existing capital ships. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Or it will be, because you're still working on it.
Translation, we CHG haven't done any work on a battlecruiser yet. Me personally, I don't care. I don't think a ship like a battlecruiser should be in the hands of players. But there are enough whales out who would easily pay $5, $6, $7, $8, even $10,000 for a battlecruiser.
Are there any plans to add internal liveries to ships?
I'd love to. It's one of those things that it requires teams outside of my control to be able to kind of deliver this, and they all have big priorities lists that they need to work through.
Why do you bring more and more single-seater ships with size 4 or even size 5 weapons? Don't you know that those are making not only makes it looking size 3 and smaller like toys for children? That's what I would read it. Sorry, but these sizes are meant to be armor piercing. So for shooting down bigger multi-crew ships, this is totally contradictory for a multi-crew experience if the one-man army is able to kill the group ship all alone.
Yes, those bigger guns are designed to take on larger ships. Is putting them on smaller ships a problem? I don't think so. We have ships like the Ares that is a single-person ship with a very big gun designed to take on larger ships. We want there to be a wide range of gameplay styles, but what we don't want is we always refer to it internally as the Jesus ship, where It's the best ever, and every chip owner wants their chip to be their chip. They want it to be the best handling, the most damage output, the strongest health.
This is what we call deflection, John. No one was talking about Jesus chips. The question is, why do chips with size 3 guns look like they got a short end of the stick nowadays? Because of feature power creep, you want to sell the new, shiny, OP chip. And why did you mention errors? Both ships are in a very sorry state.
Ship-to-ship docking.
Still planned. All the ships we build for it follow the metric we set out for it.
It is still planned. Translation, don't expect it in a game in the next 5 years.
Any update about rearm, repair, and refuel from a hangar inside a capital ship like the Polaris or Idris?
So this is one I can talk a bit more about. Like, this is on the feature team schedule to be delivered in the near future. I'm not going to give a date.
Since we have revealed that the Apollo is coming next month, how are drones such as repair and medical coming along? Drones
will not be releasing as part of the Apollo launch. We'll rip that band-aid off now. When we were developing the ship, obviously the Apollo, I want to say it was 2017 originally concepted.
17 or 18, I remember.
17 or 18. The idea of medical gameplay then is very different to the idea of medical gameplay now. And we have people working on updates to the medical gameplay system right now, beyond what we talked about, the medical beacon. And when we were looking at the ship, the drones was this sort of gray area. They said they would do one thing in the concept. That sort of doesn't really apply in the game loop we have now for medical. They predated tractor beams and just the whole respawn mechanics we have now. So we have left space for the drone bay in the ship. We've not got rid of it. The space is there if we find a valid use case for them to exist when drones as a feature exist. But the Apollo will launch next month without drone gameplay.
Any update about being able to relog and or log in on our friends' ships and beds for the crew?
I believe there are some bugs with the current system. That is probably the root of this question. But I'm not the team that is responsible for fixing them, so I don't have the answers to when for those. But I do want to talk about how we want to deal with logging in and out going forward in the future. We want, and I think Rich has talked about this before, we don't want to exclusively gate logging in and out of the game purely to ship beds. We want to allow you to do it anywhere, but there's consequences to that. It's just that beds will have bonuses. Like if you log out in your ship bed, it's better than just logging out on the floor somewhere.
Just want to reiterate here, because again, this is an early design change. It's too early to go into a whole lot of the details and stuff. But the idea here is to eventually move to a system where you can log in and out on your ship, whether you have a bed or not, and then explore what advantages we can add to those ships that do have beds on top of that.
Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
Hey, got something for you.
Next one.
Drop whatever you're doing. 2 words. Distress bacon. Beacon. Distress beacon. Sorry, I didn't have breakfast. Forget it. Just go help, okay? My convoy was hit in transit. Bastards had taken out the array so we couldn't get a proper distress. They shot my ship up and vented the others. I mean, vented them like they were nothing. They're dragging my ship somewhere. Guess they thought they'd killed me. I'm sending out a low pulse distress. Hopefully they won't pick it up. If you're in the area, please help. I gotta say, for just being someone who flew by one day, you've proven pretty useful so far.
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.